Accelerated Learning Binaural Beats. Listen to these 65 programming and analysis terms for the Codes and Regulations section. Where references are made to the CBC or IBC, please ensure you consult the most up-to-date version of the code. These are introductory terms that will help you identify keywords on code-related problems. Play the audio before you sleep or when you wake up in a relaxed state. Repeat the word and use your imagination to apply the word to what you already know. Let this learning tool guide you, knowing you will succeed. Let's begin. Division, Codes and Regulations. Chapter 3, Occupancy Classification Terminology. Group A Occupancy. Group A occupancy is divided into 4 occupancy types. Group A1 is for assembly with fixed seats for viewing of movie theaters and live performances. Group A2 is for assembly for food and drink consumption, such as a bar, restaurant, or club. Group A3 is for assembly for worship, recreation, or not classified elsewhere. This includes libraries, art museums, conference rooms greater than 50. Group A4 is for assembly for viewing of indoor sports such as arenas. Group B Occupancy. Group B occupancy has one occupancy type, Group B1, which is for business, for office or service transitions such as offices, banks, educational above the 12th grade, and post offices. Group E Occupancy. Group E is for educational greater than 5 people through the 12th grade. Group F Occupancy. Group F occupancy is divided into 2 occupancy types. Group F1 is for factory moderate hazard. Group F2 is for factory low hazard. See the IBC for further examples. Group H Occupancy. Group H is for high hazard group occupancies, including manufacturing, processing, generation, or storage of materials that constitute a physical or health hazard in quantities in excess of those allowed in control areas. Group I Occupancy. Group I occupancy is divided into 4 occupancy types. Group I1 is for greater than 16 ambulatory people on a 24-hour basis. This includes assisted living, group home, convalescent facilities, and more. Group I2 is for medical care on a 24-hour basis, including hospitals, skilled care nursing, and more. Group I3 is for greater than 5 people restrained, such as jails and prisons. And Group I4 is for daycare for greater than 5, less than 2.5 years of age, such as daycare for infants. Group M Occupancy. Group M is for mercantile such as department stores, markets, retail stores, drugstores, and sales rooms. Group R Occupancy. Group R occupancy has 4 occupancy types. Group R1 is for residential for transient lodging, such as hotels and motels. Group R2 is for residential with 3 or more units, such as apartments, dormitories, condominiums, and convents. Group R3 is 1 or 2 dwelling units with attached uses or childcare, less than 6 people, less than 24 hours of provided care. This includes bed and breakfast and small childcare facilities. And Group R4 is for residential assisted living, where the number of occupants are greater than 5 people but less than 16 dwellings, and must use the International Residential Code. Examples include small assisted living facilities. Group S occupancy. Group S is for storage. Group U occupancy. Group U is for utility and miscellaneous. IBC Ch.3 Fire and Smoke Protection. Fire area. A fire area refers to the area enclosed and bounded by firewalls, fire barriers, exterior walls, or horizontal assemblies of a building. This requirement is located in IBC Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features. Fire assembly. A fire assembly is a system and assembly specifically used for structural fire resistance and fire resistance rated construction. Fire assemblies can describe a fire door, a fire window, a fire damper, or a firewall. The various types of fire assemblies, such as a firewall, fire barrier, fire partition, or smoke barrier, are some examples detailed in IBC Chapter 7 Fire and Smoke Protection Features. Firewall. Firewall is one of the various examples of a fire resistance rated wall assembly designed to restrict the spread of fire. Firewalls provide a complete separation in a single structure into separate construction types, or are used to provide for allowable area increases by creating separate buildings, even though they are attached. These requirements are located in IBC Chapter 7 Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 706. Fire barrier. Fire barrier is one of the various examples of a fire resistance rated wall assembly designed to restrict the spread of fire. Fire barriers are a fire resistance rated vertical or horizontal assembly of materials designed to restrict the spread of fire in which openings are protected. Fire barriers in general offer more protection than fire partitions. Examples include stairways, exit passageways, and horizontal exits. These requirements are located in Chapter 7 Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 707. Fire partition. Fire partition is one of the various examples of a fire resistance rated wall assembly designated to restrict the spread of fire. Fire partitions are used to separate dwelling units in apartment buildings, for example, or to separate tenant spaces in covered mall buildings. Partitions have a minimum requirement of 1 hour rated construction. These requirements are located in Chapter 7 Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 708. Smoke barrier. Smoke barrier is one of the various examples of a fire resistance rated wall assembly designed to restrict the spread of fire. Smoke barriers are continuous vertical and horizontal membranes with a fire resistance rating of 1 hour, designed to restrict the movement of smoke. These requirements are located in Chapter 7 Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 709. Fire door assembly. Fire door assembly is any combination of a fire door, frame, hardware, and other accessories that provides a specific degree of fire protection to an opening. These requirements are located in Chapter 7 Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 716.2.3 Fire doors. Fire exit hardware. Fire exit hardware is panic hardware typically listed for use on fire door assemblies. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 716.2.6, Hardware and Closers. Fire protection rating. Fire protection rating is the period of time for which an opening assembly, such as a door or window, maintains its ability to confine a fire, or maintains its integrity when tested in accordance with NFPA 252, UL 10B, UL 10C for doors, or NFPA 257 for windows. An assembly that is required to have a fire protection rating must withstand fire exposure and thermal shock, the same as for a fire resistance rating, but it is not required to withstand heat transmission, unlike for a fire resistance rating. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features. Fire resistance rating. Fire resistance rating is the period of time a building component such as a wall, floor, roof, beam, or column is able to confine a fire or maintain its structural integrity when tested in accordance with ASTM E119, the standard methods for fire tests of building construction and materials. It's different from the fire protection rating, which involves protected opening assemblies. These requirements are located in Chapter 7 Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 703 Fire Resistance Ratings and Fire Tests. Fire resistance. Fire resistance is the property of a material, finish, or assembly to withstand or resist the spread of fire and provide protection from it. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 703, Fire Resistance Ratings and Fire Tests. Fire-rated glazing. Fire-rated glazing refers to glazing that is assigned either a fire protection rating or a fire resistance rating. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features. Flame resistance. Flame resistance is the ability of a material, component, or assembly to withstand or protect from flames. These materials and assemblies are tested according with NFPA 701, standard methods of fire tests for flame-resistant textiles and films. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features. Flame spread index. Flame spread index is a numerical value assigned to a material that is tested in accordance with ASTM E84, or the standard test method for surface burning characteristics of building materials. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features. Horizontal exit. A horizontal exit is an exit that consists of fire resistance rated construction and opening protectives for the purpose of compartmentalizing portions of a building. This creates refuge areas for safety from fire and smoke. This construction is typically 2-hour rated. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Sections 707.3.5. Non-combustible material. Non-combustible material will not ignite or burn during a fire. The IBC qualifies a material as non-combustible if it is tested in accordance with ASTM E136, the non-combustible material tests, or if it has a structural base of non-combustible material with a surface not more than 1/8 of an inch thick that has a flame spread index no greater than 50. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features. Combustible materials. Combustible materials are materials that will ignite, burn, support combustion, or release flammable vapors into the air at pressures and temperatures that might occur during a fire in a building. Area of refuge. Area of refuge is an area in a building where people can remain temporarily while they wait for assistance to access an exit. Under certain circumstances described in the International Building Code, stairways may need to incorporate an area of refuge. This requirement is located in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, 109.3.3. Automatic closing door. Automatic closing door is a type of door held in the open position, but released to the closed position when a smoke detector or fire alarm system is activated. These requirements are located in Chapter 7, Fire and Smoke Protection Features, Section 716, Opening Protectives. IBC Chapter 10, Means of Egress Terminology. Chapter 10 is divided into 4 sections: General, Exit Access, Exit, and Exit Discharge. The last 3 sections are the 3 main components of an egress system. Exit access is that portion of a means of egress that leads to an exit. The exit is that portion of the egress system that provides a protected path of egress between the exit and exit discharge. Exits may include stairs, exit passageways, and horizontal exits. Finally, the exit discharge is the portion of the egress system between the termination of an exit and a public way. Occupant load. Occupant load is the number of persons for which the means of egress of a building or portion thereof is designed. These requirements are set forth in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1004, Occupant Load. Occupant load factor. Occupant load factor is the amount of floor area to be occupied by one person. This is based on the generic functions of building spaces and is not the same as the occupancy groups. It represents the densities found in various uses and functions of a building. The most common uses are located in the IBC Table 1004.5, Maximum Floor Area Allowances per Occupant. These requirements are set forth in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1004, Occupant Load. Common path of egress travel. Common path of egress travel is the portion of exit access travel distance measured from the most remote point within a story to the point where the occupants have separate access to two exits or exit access to doorways. This requirement is defined in Chapter 10, Means of Egress. Corridor. A corridor is an enclosed exit access component that provides a path of egress travel to an exit. This requirement is defined in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1020, Corridors. Exit access travel distance. Exit access travel distance is the travel distance within the exit access portion of the Means of Egress system. This requirement is defined in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1017, Corridors Exit Access Travel Distance. Travel distance. Travel distance is the distance between the most remote occupied point of an area to the entrance of the nearest exit that serves it. Travel distance is part of the exit access and is measured along the natural and unobstructed path of egress travel. This requirement is defined in Chapter 10, Means of Egress. Exit access doorway. Exit access doorway is a door or access point along the path of egress travel from an occupied room or space where the path of egress enters an intervening room, corridor, unenclosed exit access stair, or unenclosed exit access ramp. This requirement is defined in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1007, Exit and Exit Access Doorway. Egress courts. Egress courts are a court that's considered part of the exit discharge, providing access to a public way for one or more required exits. This requirement is defined in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1029, Egress Courts. Exit enclosure. Exit enclosure is a fully enclosed portion of an exit for the sole purpose of being used as a means of egress, and that provides a protected path of egress, either in a vertical or horizontal direction. Based on various parameters such as building construction type or height, it may be required to have a 1 or 2 hour rating with protected openings. Exit enclosures must lead to an exit discharge or public way. This requirement is defined in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1007, Exit and Exit Access Doorway Configuration. Exit passageway. Exit passageway is a horizontal, fully enclosed portion of an exit that is used as a means of egress. The exit passageway leads from an exit doorway to an exit discharge or public way. This requirement is defined in Chapter 10, Means of Egress. Self-closing door. Self-closing door is a type of door equipped with a device that ensures closing after the door has been opened. These requirements are located in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1010.3.2, Power-Operated Doors. Panic hardware. Panic hardware is a hardware or door latch system with a device that releases the latch to allow building occupants to safely exit in the direction of egress travel in an emergency. These requirements are located in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1010.3.2, Power-Operated Doors. Stair or stairway. A stair provides a change in elevation with one or more risers. A stairway is one or more flight of stairs with landings necessary to connect from one level to another. These requirements are located in Chapter 10, Means of Egress, Section 1011, Stairways. Regulatory agencies and trade association terminology. International Building Code. The International Building Code is published by the International Code Council, ICC, and is the primary model code referenced in the United States. Local or state building code. The International Building Code and any other modification and supplemental documents, depending on the state, may be adopted. IBC is the most commonly used model code in the U.S. However, building design and construction must conform to whatever code is enforced in the locality where the structure is built. These codes are written to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Local zoning ordinance. Local zoning ordinance is based on the zoning code for that local city or county jurisdiction, which includes local Department of Health codes and standards, local ordinances such as height restrictions and view easements, and historic preservation regulations, to name a few. Companion codes. In addition to building codes, there's companion codes that govern other aspects of construction. The ICC, for example, publishes the IRC, or the International Residential Code, the IFC, the International Fire Code, the IMC, the International Mechanical Code, the IPC, the International Plumbing Code, and the IZC, or the International Zoning Code. The National Electric Code, or NEC, is published by the National Fire Protection Association, or the NFPA. The ICC has no electrical code and relies on the NEC. ADA. ADA, or Americans with Disabilities Act, regulates removal of barriers to the physically disabled. The requirements are based on the American National Standard Institute, ANSI, and ICC Standard A117.1, Accessible and Usable Building and Facilities. ADA is not a code or standard, but a civil rights legislation. Model building codes. Model building codes also use industry standards developed by trade associations. For example, the IBC references standards writing organizations such as ASTM International and NFPA, as well as standards approving groups such as ANSI. Standards are adopted into the building code by reference name, number, and date of latest revision. ASTM. ASTM, or the American Society of Testing and Materials, is a standards writing organization that publishes standards and test procedures that prescribe how a test apparatus must be set up, and material preparation, and more. ASTM, however, does not perform tests. The manufacturers indicate what tests their materials passed, while other agencies actually perform the tests. NFPA. NFPA stands for National Fire Protection Association. Fire safety tests. The three most commonly used fire safety tests to rate the fire resistance of construction assemblies are ASTM E119, NFPA 252, and NFPA 257. NFPA 1. NFPA 1 is the fire code developed by the National Fire Protection Association. NFPA 101. NFPA 101 is the National Life Safety Code. NFPA 70. NFPA 70 refers to the National Electric Code. NFPA 13. NFPA 13 is a standard for the installation of sprinkler systems. NFPA 13R. NFPA 13R is a standard for sprinkler systems in low-rise residential occupancies. NFPA 13D. NFPA 13D is a standard for sprinkler systems for 1 to 2 family dwellings or manufactured homes. International Energy Conservation Code, or IECC. The International Energy Conservation Code should be reviewed on every project to make sure energy performance requirements are met. IECC controls wall insulation requirements, electrical power consumption, lighting controls, and total building performance requirements, to name a few. Please don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and let me know if you found this video helpful in the comments below. Wishing you success.